No, I love animals. I love animals very much.
Okay,
but I love humans much more than animals. And if I have to kill every single animal on Earth to save human civilization and humankind, then I will do it if I have the power to.
Oppression continues forevermore.
Because humans are the only species that does not matter. You are the same species. The same species is more important than any other species.
No, it's not.
It's not. It is. Look, this guy, if he had a choice between keeping all the animals alive on Earth and killing all humans, he would choose to kill all humans with no question asked.
So if humans go extinct, say goodbye to Holocausts, say goodbye to slave trades, say goodbye to ISIS. All terrorism would.
So what? I will choose slave trade and Holocaust and everything before humans go extinct.
Why?
Because we need to keep existing.
Immoral.
That's the whole point of life.
So for your
to keep existing.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's to help others, mate.
Here we go. The whole point of the vegans is that you don't need to harvest animals to survive, which fair enough, it's true. But my point is, their reasoning for it is flawed because they don't want to kill animals because it doesn't feel nice. It doesn't feel nice to kill those poor
It's
little
basic
animals.
concepts of justice.
Huh?
Not harming others
You see,
who don't
that's
want to
your
be harmed.
problem.
There's no
you are
problem.
dictating justice to other people. You're saying your
That's
justice
what good
is the
people
correct
do.
one. No, they don't.
So what would
No,
you have
they
said
don't.
during World War II, during the Holocaust? What would you
Well,
have said while it
justice.
happened?
Listen, if good people dictate their justice to others, then the Nazis were good people because they were dictating their justice to everybody else.
So you'd have just said, the Nazis, just leave them to what they do.
No, I wouldn't. That's
So what would
you
you have
say.
said?
That's what you would
No,
say.
I wouldn't. I'd have said this was an injustice.
How can you make more people become vegans? Do you think there's a way of doing that?
Educational activism. So what me and Sardar
indoctrination.
here do- it's not the indoctrination, mate, is what you're spewing here.
I'm not indoctrinated.
Yes, you are. You've
No,
been
I'm
told
not.
from day one. You've been taught that you're superior to all life on Earth, and that your taste buds are superior to all life on Earth. You even told me a moment ago that dogs feel pain and are intelligent, but pigs and cows aren't.
Yeah, they do, but less than dogs.
Well, that's indoctrination. How?
No, it's not.
That is
Dude,
absurd.
it's
You pulled
obvious.
that fact out
Listen,
of thin air.
Chimpanzees are more intelligent than cows.
Yes.
Dolphins are more intelligent than cows. If
I
dogs are
notice how
more
you don't eat
intelligent,
those animals. That's convenient. Or the animals
Sorry?
you don't eat are all intelligent and feel pain.
it's the other way around.
And the animals
it's
you
the
do
other
eat
way
are
around. We
magically
don't
not
eat
intelligent
them
and don't
because
feel
they
any
are
pain.
intelligent. Now, before you say
No,
anything,
it's not,
there are
because
people
pigs are
who eat
intelligent.
dolphins and who eat monkeys and chimpanzees. So it's not like we don't eat them at all.
And in
but
China,
we just
you'd be
try to
telling
not
me now
eat them
we should eat
that
dogs.
much because they're very intelligent. We don't eat sparrows. Not sparrows. Sparrows, like sparrows. As often as we eat chickens because chickens are fucking dumb.
No, it's because chickens have been bred to be obese.
Yes,
and,
that too.
and it's profitable.
That too.
It's for greed
That
and
too.
profit.
But
Still
if
trying to
we
understand,
if we
what
have an
have you got
intelligent
against-
animal
What have you got against vegans?
against veganism, their arguments are shit.
No, they're not. Your arguments
their
are.
big argument is don't eat animals because eating animals isn't nice. Because animals are thinking, feeling beings. Yeah, they are. So I think we should treat them better. We shouldn't, there are many videos of animals being treated very badly in slaughterhouses. And I think we should treat them much better.
we should farm
give
you
them a
and treat you
clean, painless
nicely
death
before we kill
when
and
we
eat
kill
you.
them.
And
Because
before we eat you,
mainly
we'll be
because
nice to
the stress that the animal feels before death and during his life reflects on the meat. So if you eat the meat of a very stressed, of an animal that is in pain, it's not good. It's
So
not
we'll
good at
make
all
sure
for
not
your,
to stress
health.
you before we eat you, and it'll be okay.
You see, that's your problem.
not.
You don't see humans as the priority. You see animals as the priority.
And your problem is that you see your own taste
Of
buds.
course,
as the priority.
no. I see humans as a priority.
Why do you eat meat?
Because it's very nutritious. Because it tastes good. It's very nutritious. It gives you protein. It gives you certain
So
things
where
that
does protein-
are more difficult to find in plants.
No, protein.
Yes.
The average vegan gets 70% above the recommended daily allowance of protein every single day. There are
and he
vegan
eats-
athletes, and
he
you.
needs to eat a lot more.
No, we don't. There are vegan athletes, and you're complaining about your protein intake. You're not an athlete. They're one of the world's strongest
Well,
men.
you don't know. I might be an athlete.
I don't know.
No, I'm
but, the,
joking.
but the point, right? So Patrick Baboumian, okay, he can lift the weight of a flipping horse. He's like double your size, and he's a vegan. Baboumian. And he's getting his protein very
Patrick
easily.
Baboon.
The reason you eat meat, sir,
Patrick
is
the
because you enjoy the way it tastes, and that's not an okay argument.
Dude, those are very few exceptions.
That's
The
the only argument
weightlifters
he
and the
needs.
strong
That's
men.
the only argument he needs. I mean, I don't eat meat, but I understand that if he's going to eat meat and he says, because he likes the taste, it doesn't matter what you tell him about the protein, that he can get it from plants. If he's eating it based on taste, he's going to stick with the meat.
I know he is, but that's selfish.
Well, then again, what's the problem, man? If you
Because
treat
you're
the animals well, it doesn't matter. Listen, people are very against bullfights, and honestly, I just find them boring. I don't like bullfights. They're just sticking these things into the poor bull. I lived in Portugal most of my life, so I've seen bullfights. I don't like them. They're pretty boring, honestly. It's just torturing the poor animal until they kill him. But listen, the thing is...
Oh, is that not an emotional
No, but
argument?
listen.
Okay,
No, but now to the real argument. The thing is, the bulls that are being used in bullfights have the best life amongst animals ever. All their life, they live in open spaces. They run around. They breed with the cows. With the best cows. They do whatever they want. They are free. And then in that one day, they bring them. They in front of the crowd. They kill them and they eat them. That's it.
So
That's
you support
it? I don't support it, but I also don't oppose it. I just want to make you think a little bit about it. How would the bull's life be if he was not harvested by humans? He would be living in fear his whole life to be hunted by a wolf.
Bred. They've bred him into existence for the sole purpose of torturing
Yeah, but
him.
listen, if people never bred him, his ancestors, the animal that they bred, which were not exactly as the animal that he is now, because selected breeding, you know about it. They would be living in the wild, and life in the wild can be very ruthless, can be very difficult.
As ruthless as what we do to animals now?
Sorry?
As ruthless as what we're doing as a species to animals? Have you seen slaughterhouse footage?
I just told you that I don't agree with how animals are treated in slaughterhouses.
So are you going to stop eating animal products until the conditions get better?
No, I want them to treat animals better in
then it's a phony
slaughterhouses.
argument, because you're still eating
It's
these
not.
products while you
So
say...
what?
So you're
what?
pretending to
if
care.
If they treat the animals better and they give them a clean death, I don't care if they kill them. It doesn't matter.
Because he loves the taste, and that's what he's just going to say. He's just going to
You
say
know,
it.
that's your argument. That's always your
as long as the
argument.
animals
Because
are
it
treated
doesn't
well,
sound
but it doesn't
nice.
matter
Because
if they're not.
if I eat
anyway.
animals because they taste well, it doesn't sound nice. It sounds like I'm very selfish. Dude, people have been eating animals forever.
People have been raping forever.
Here we go again.
It's an
this
appeal to
fucking
tradition
argument.
fallacy. Appeal to
Raping
tradition.
ruins the society. Eating
So is
animals
eating animals.
doesn't.
So,
No, it doesn't.
so if eating
How
animals
does it?
did ruin society, would you stop?
If eating animals ruined the society, I would stop eating
And
animals.
if rape didn't ruin society, would you rape?
Here we go.
Ah,
again.
well, no, but
there
that's
is
the
no
basis for your
way
argument.
that rape would not ruin societies, because you need to treat others as others are treating you.
Do animals qualify as others?
Humans.
Do animals qualify as others?
Humans are your equals. Animals are not.
Yes, they are.
No, they are not.
I think an animal is superior to you. So yeah, an
Here
animal
we
is
go.
my-
An animal is
Which
superior
type
to
of
me.
animal?
That's the
All
man
of
who
them?
believes that
All animals.
are
I
superior
don't
to
like
humans.
humans.
Plants eat animals. Plants eat animals. Even plants eat
Well,
animals.
so you're getting now your morality from plants. Yet you claim humans as a
No, I'm
superior
getting my
species.
morality from humans, but you're saying
you-
that animals are better than humans.
They are. They don't.
They are,
There is no animal has ever committed slavery, the Holocaust. There's no animals in ISIS. Humans are worse than animals. If you removed all humans from the planet, everything would improve. The air, the oceans, the rainforest, the mountain, the soil. If you removed all ants from the planet, the whole ecosystem would collapse.
Yeah, but
Yet we
who
have the
would
gall to
who
think
would
we're
be there to
superior.
perceive the world? Who would be there to see it?
Well, what's your perception of the world?
My perception of the world is what I see. It's what I perceive that the world is.
That's trivial.
There
in
is
comparison to the amount-
nobody to admire the world, nobody to see it.
That's trivial.
No sentient being.
It doesn't matter.
It's
That's
trivial.
completely trivial.
Is it
So
trivial?
you're putting your
So a
enjoyment
barren
of looking
rock,
at a beautiful
listen,
hill.
So a rock without any life is the same as this planet, with all the sentient beings.
Hundreds of billions of animals are being brutally abused in slaughterhouses every single year, and you're saying your right to look at a beautiful bit of scenery is more important than that?
No, I'm saying that life is more important than the lack of suffering. Life with suffering and without suffering, I will always choose that before lack of life, before death.
No, I would
will
always choose
choose
non-existence, so not bringing someone into
Here we go.
existence.
But that's boring. That's completely stagnated.
To you, it's boring.
Huh?
To you, it's
I
boring.
think the
come on.
anti-vegan arguments are
Come
boring.
on, guys, are we really having this argument?
I'm not so egotistical
You see,
that
that's
I
the
think...
problem of nowadays. People see them as insignificant, as simple plastic bags floating in the wind.
No, the
you can't
problem-
change something. What about
In
veganism?
the grand scheme of things,
Why
you are
don't
insignificant.
Why don't you live for veganism? I disagree with you, but
Okay.
that's you know that's a
Why are
driving
you
point.
important to this planet? Convince me.
Why
Convince
am
me
I
that you're important.
Because
Yeah.
I perceive this planet. because I can perceive it. That's it.
I don't care.
That's it.
Nobody cares.
That's all you need. You don't need to care. Have you ever heard of solipsism?
no.
I might not exist. You might not exist. Maybe the only being that exists on Earth is this guy.
That would be a shitty
And
world.
he's dreaming, and all of us are just fragments of his imagination, of the dream that he's seeing.
Okay, you're tripping me out now.
Maybe it's him, maybe it's me, maybe it's whoever of us. Maybe what we see is not actual reality, but the fact that we perceive it makes us exist. Even if everything is a lie, we exist. Somehow we exist, and that's more important than
So you're
any kind of
justifying animal abuse
harmony.
based on all these trivial things.
Listen, if you want to completely destroy abuse and pain and suffering, you need to destroy all predators and all life whatsoever.
I can't
You need
talk to animals.
crush
I
all
can't
life.
talk to animals. I can have a rational conversation with you.
Why
But
not?
you're still not listening. Because you're.
Am I not listening?
Well, you're
You
saying
want
that
to-
you're
you
saying the
want to
vegan
raise
arguments
pain.
are bullshit.
Pain for you, pain and suffering for you are the main evil that needs to be erased, right?
Yeah.
But animals will have pain and suffering without humans.
But there's nothing I can do about the wild animal suffering. I can come to Speaker's Corner and talk to people about how they can stop their participation in animal suffering.
I don't get your point now. You kind of lost me there.
No, the point is I'm here to talk to you because I can have a conversation with you to get you to eliminate your consumption of animal products and reduce suffering. I can't talk to a fox or a lion or a bear. I can't talk to them and say stop eating animals. I can talk to you.
Well, you see that we are not the same as foxes and lions and wolves.
We're not, and that's why I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you.
If you decided not to eat meat, would it be so bad in your
No,
life?
I would survive.
You would survive. So then,
course I
so
would.
what's the problem then?
Because I don't agree with his reasoning.
Do you think
if
animals
he wants,
matter?
If he wants to make me make a change that big in my life to completely stop eating meat, he needs to give some damn good arguments to make me stop
I've
doing
given
that.
you them, and you just say they're
no,
shit.
you're not.
I've even
Dude,
answered directly questions.
Are you seriously expecting me to listen to what you are about to say? If you're saying that you prefer animals to humans,
Okay,
and
let's
that
pretend.
humans are
Okay, let's
scumbags,
pretend I don't. Let's pretend I love
how am I
humans.
supposed to listen to you?
Hello, everyone, my lovely fellow man. I love you all. Like, you're arguing with me about
Sure,
vegans.
whatever,
Go.
sure.
I love humans. Go.
You love humans.
I
Do you
love them.
think animals matter?
They do.
They do matter.
And so do humans. I love them so much.
why should we reduce them into sandwiches when we don't need to? Do they matter more than your taste buds?
Oh, here we go again. The same argument.
Do they
about
matter
the
more
Well,
than?
refute it.
Do they matter more than vanity? Do they matter more than clothing?
more than clothing.
Yeah. Do
Well,
animals
that's how
matter
we
more than
began
clothing?
having clothing to begin with.
Yeah.
If we didn't
But
kill
do
animals, you would be.
But do we need to
you
do
would
it now?
die,
Do we
probably.
need to do it today?
Today, nowadays?
Yeah.
Probably
Reduce
not.
them into clothing.
Probably not.
So to do so would be cruel.
Yeah, there's no big reason to eat animals, but there's also no big reason to not eat animals. What you're giving me
They
is
value their own
Then
lives.
there's no
and they
big
matter.
reason for
They
me
by
not
your-
to
value
split
by-
humans.
by-
animals. Listen,
but you said they
only very-
matter.
Only very intelligent animals. They do matter.
So
do
if they matter, then we
to
should
us,
leave them alone.
Humans, but they don't matter to each other.
Do they matter to
Because
themselves?
they don't perceive things as if to something will matter to them.
Do they matter to themselves?
No, they don't.
I'm still disturbed by your argument where you compare animals, the consumption of animals to that of
It's not very well
genocide.
developed.
Yeah.
So what happened to the Jews?
It's
Yeah.
been scientifically
How do you
proven.
correlate
There have
the
been,
two? That's what
you know,
I have problems understanding that correlation.
So we're all sentient beings, we all suffer, and we're equally capable of being oppressed. So animals
can test
are
the being's
victims as much
intelligence.
as humans are. If you can name a trait animals have, that if a human had that trait, it would be okay to do those things to humans. I want to hear that trait. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people say, well, we're more intelligent than animals. So I'll say to them, okay, so if a human did have the intelligence of a pig,
It's a pretty
would it be
intelligent
okay
bird,
to herd that human into a gas chamber? Of course not. It
A
wouldn't.
crow is almost
So the reason that we harm
intelligent as a
animals and we
parrot.
don't call it
Because
oppression
they
is completely
both can actually
arbitrary.
mimic
Just like
human
any
language.
human who's been
It's
oppressed.
just
do it.
they're
They
different.
just don't
Yeah,
do it that
all it
often.
is intelligence,
They can
the way they look. This is how oppression works
Yes, they
anyway.
can mimic sounds.
The reason black
fine, they
people
don't
were oppressed in
understand
slavery is
human
because they
language,
look
but
different to
sometimes,
white people.
For example, dogs
The
can
reason
learn
Jews were
commands.
oppressed in the
They hear
Holocaust
the
is
human
because
commands
Hitler
and
thought they were
associate
different
the
to my
command,
own
the word,
kind. They're not
the sound of
Aryans,
the
they're
word
different.
with
The root of all
certain
oppression
thing that they're
is the
supposed to do.
idea that
They're
someone
not
else,
us.
yeah, they're not
But
us.
that's not
Their
very
life doesn't
developed
matter as
in
much as
the
ours, and that's why we're vegan.
But you don't
in the
have to
same
see
way,
humans and
they
animals
have
as equal.
feelings,
You can
but it's
say
not
that
very
animals are
developed.
inferior to us. We
Again,
just have to see them
I
as
am
more
against eating
important
dogs
than our taste
because
buds,
they have a
than our
considerable amount
enjoyment.
and they are.
Look at these cute little dogs, mate. Look, what would you do if someone slit one of their throats?
Dude, don't change
and ate
conversation.
them,
I'm
and ate them,
okay,
and then
wait,
use
wait,
your
wait.
arguments. What would you
I don't
do?
like the Yulin
Look at
Festival.
this little guy.
In case you're thinking about it, I don't like the Yulin
Why?
Festival.
Why not?
They're
What's wrong
actually
with
I
Yulin?
decide
Because dogs are more useful alive than
raw.
dead. They feel more than any other
But
animal.
surely, like, it's not
Dude,
based on
they're not,
usefulness.
it's not like they are killing the
Usefulness
dog
is
and then cooking
arbitrary.
it. They're cooking the dog alive. I'm
Yeah.
always against that.
So it's the
Well,
cruelty
what-
involved.
what
that's
you
you're-
saw-
yes. And for me, that's
So
the
they-
main
yeah.
reason.
So they
why I
matter,
don't like
yeah.
it.
But this happens.
Come on,
is-
man. Do you feel good when watching something suffer? I don't feel good when
Someone.
watching something
But then
suffer.
don't
Someone.
fund it.
Okay, fine.
They're individuals,
Someone.
aren't they?
Some creature suffer.
They
There's
are
someone-
individuals, aren't they?
They're not individuals.
They
in
have
terms of
personality
humanity.
traits.
Who's this? Animals.
They do.
So you see those two little dogs that are running
Some of
over in the
them
park?
do.
Both of them have different
But
personalities
look,
from each
guys,
other.
Okay.
That's how nature works. It's a constant struggle between different species.
But
And
what
you guys-
what makes you think it's your nature to eat another animal?
It's just how nature works.
Who said-
We're not a part
We
of
are
nature
omnivorous
anymore.
beings. We are not herbivorous beings.
omnivorous.
Our intestines,
Yeah.
they are not herbivorous.
They actually are.
No, they're not.
Yes, your intestine could stretch out to further than that tree there. Your small intestine, if they took that out and unravelled it, it would go even further from.
Not quite, but yeah, I know it's
Even further it would.
I don't believe it would until there, but I know that it's very very long. But carnivorous animals don't have that short of intestines.
They do.
They're
Carnivorous
that
animals
short.
do have
Yeah,
short
they're like
intestines.
that. The intestines are like
Yeah,
that.
and yours could
No,
go
they're
from
not.
here to the tree. In any case, our biology doesn't give us an excuse to harm someone else when we
There
don't
we go.
need
Yes,
to.
it does.
No, because me and him have the same biological makeup as you, and yet we're living without exploiting animals.
Because you
so
are
why can't you?
omnivorous. If
It doesn't
humans
matter.
listen, if the Australopithecus, the ancestor of the human, if
appeal
it
to
were
nature.
a carnivorous being, you would be carnivorous beings. Unless some really intense evolution would take place, you would still be a carnivorous being. Bears can survive by eating only plants. But
sounds
do
like-
they eat only plants? No, they need meat in their diet.
But we don't. And we're living proof of that. This guy hasn't eaten meat for longer than I haven't. I've only been vegan for 5 years. This guy hasn't eaten
I
meat for
think
how
there are
long? Sir?
consequences to
21
not eating
years.
meat at
And
all.
you're saying we need to eat meat.
I think there are consequences to that.
What's the consequence?
one of the
What's happening to this
consequences-
gentleman? Is
No,
he going to drop
it depends.
dead?
It depends from person.
20 years.
Yeah, he's gonna drop that. Obviously, he's not. Obviously, he's not. But for example,
21 years.
Look at the guns, bro.
Yeah, looking good.
20
looking
20
good, man,
years,
looking
this
good.
guy.
Looking fit.
I'm
man,
not,
looking
fully- I'm
fit.
not gonna die yet.
I mean, it has been proven that it's healthy if you have at least some meat or some fish or some kind of animal products in your diet.
Can I refer you to a study that disproves that? So it's called the China study.
The who?
The China study.
China studies.
And it's the most comprehensive nutritional study in human history.
Well, China studies are not very trustworthy if you ask
Well,
me.
it was done by Oxford University and Cornell University in association with Chinese government scientists. Check it out. And their conclusion was that the optimum diet for human health was what's called a whole foods, plant-based diet. So that means no animal products, but fruits, vegetables, blah, 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 and no like processed foods, no oils, refined sugars. So that's not even the diet I eat. I eat like vegan junk food, I eat like crisps, vegan donuts, vegan mock meats and crap. So I'm not saying that's my diet. But the optimum diet for human health is a whole foods, plant-based diet. So no animal products and just whole foods. So foods that are ingredients, not foods that have ingredients.
So what is it? Whole foods and what was the other stuff you mentioned in there?
It's a whole foods, plant-based diet. Yeah.
From the China stuff.
And Sardar gave you a card at the moment
Yes.
ago, which might have that on it, or it might even have Forks Over Knives documentary, which is based on that. So you can watch Forks Over Knives documentary, which is based on the China study.
Oh yeah, today.
Yeah. Give it a watch, Netflix or whatever. Eye-opening stuff. Because it's all very corporate. What we know about nutrition, think about, as soon as I say calcium, what do you guys think of immediately?
Milk.
milk, cheese.
Yeah, so that's the dairy industry, clever marketing throughout our whole lives, trying to get you to associate that nutrient with their product. Same with fruit companies.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
People
is.
have drank milk way before any kind of marketing.
Yes, but the association of calcium to it is a clever
Okay,
marketing.
because people didn't know about calcium during the Middle Ages, for example. I mean, they might know, some of them might know.
But plants contain calcium.
Some of them do, yeah.
Which plants?
A good lot of plants do contain calcium, but ones that are particularly high in calcium are leafy greens, figs, like dried figs, almonds are high in calcium. Oranges actually have a decent amount of calcium as well. Flax seeds. But a lot of people just don't. We just associate it with milk, and it's the same with vitamin C. If I say vitamin C, everyone thinks oranges. Again, marketing. So the orange company said, let's get people to associate that vitamin with our product, and that's what the dairy industry has done with calcium. You can get calcium from the earth. We're the only species that drinks milk after we.
I have a job.
I could baby
do other stuff.
Don't need to drink milk. We're not babies.
All of that makes sense, but I think he'll still keep eating.
He will.
He likes
He
the
will.
taste.
There's nothing I can do or say today that will change this gentleman.
You guys need to give me better reasons than those.
I've given you great reasons that you don't need to
away.
eat any animal products. So why cause suffering when you don't need to?
No, again, I never said that I completely disagree with you guys. As I said before, I think animals should be treated much better in terms of
not
the
made
food
of animals.
industry.
But then to be consistent with your argument, you need to stop eating animal products until these ideal conditions are in place that you want. But you're not going to do that.
I live a very minimalist
surely it's a
life. I don't buy a lot of
disingenuous
stuff.
Yeah, but look, me stopping.
I don't buy a lot of stuff.
That's kind of a fallacy, because when one person stops eating meat to make animals be treated better, it won't change much. If everyone stops eating meat, that will change a lot. But you can't make everyone stop eating meat. Some people just need that, just need lots of protein quickly.
Apathy is so
Some
boring.
people, work in the
Apathy is so
construction or something.
boring.
My father, for example, he worked in the
I know
construction
vegans
when he was young, and he
Have
was
you ever
telling
seen
me that
Slaughterhouse?
when he
You
worked
don't
in the
think there's
construction, he
something
needed
fucked
to
up
eat
about
some
that?
meat. To keep having some strength, to keep working physically
You can eat nuts,
all the time.
which are high in protein.
You listen, in theory you can, but in practice you
Look
really
at this
can't.
guy's arms again.
Okay, he looks good. He looks good.
without
This
right,
guy looks good.
you
But
can
do you
get-
work in the construction?
I don't think that's fucked up.
Why does it
Construction,
matter?
it
I
does
think
matter
you
a
could.
lot. It matters a lot.
I did do it once for work experience, and I swore never to do it again because it was hard work.
It's very hard.
No, but
see,
you were
it's very
capable of
hard.
doing it.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
You do need some meat. You work in the construction.
Why would
keep
you
having
need meat?
We pay hitmen to do the dirt.
Okay, fine. But you need nutrients.
I've always eaten meat. I ate meat for everyone.
Yeah, but you do need nutrients. to
Any
keep
vegan
working
can
quickly.
work in construction. You don't need to eat meat to work in construction.
I believe it will be harder. I heard from many people that work in the construction, my father's friends, that they need to eat some meat.
It's
to work there.
anecdotes. It's just
Not really,
anecdotes.
not really
Nowadays,
anecdote.
there is
I think
not
it kind of
much
depends from person to
physical work to
person,
it as there was.
but I think usually you need to eat some meat.
But why would you need to eat meat when so many plants are so high in protein? Why do you... humans don't even need that much protein. It's massively overhyped, our protein needs anyway. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're eating the bare minimum calories every day, you'll get enough protein.
Okay, man, answer me something. Can humans eat grass?
Will it be hard to digest? It's too
It
high
will
in
be
cellulose.
impossible to digest. Humans can't digest grass. Cows can digest grass because they have specific bacteria in their stomach that digest
Can
it.
you eat raw chicken?
You can, but you
All
might.
omnivores can.
You can eat raw chicken, but you might get a disease. You can
Yeah.
eat raw beef. You won't get a disease.
Yeah,
You
raw
can
beef
eat-
we can eat. Raw chicken we can't, but all omnivores can eat raw chicken.
No, it's the kind of meat that matters. Chicken is more prone to getting you a disease. Beef doesn't get you a disease if you eat it raw. Or if you drink a raw egg, you might get a disease.
So the solution, don't eat grass. Neither me or Sardar eat grass. This gentleman
man,
doesn't eat
listen,
grass.
You're missing my point. My point is, you can eat raw meat, raw beef, but you can't eat raw grass. You can't eat leaves. You can't eat that kind of stuff. That means you are more of a carnivorous than of a herbivorous.
It doesn't
See
matter.
what I mean?
But you would get a disease if you ate raw chicken.
Yes, but it's the kind of meat. Listen, if you eat
I know it's the kind of
if you-
plant. I can't eat grass, but I can eat.
If you eat a
nuts
poisonous
and
plant,
seeds.
you would die.
I know, but that does the same with a herbivore. But that doesn't mean they're not a herbivore. If a cow ate a poison plant, they'd die.
You guys are trying to make humans go vegan, not because humans are this bad being that eats animals, but because humans are successful. If, for example, another omnivorous being became the main species on Earth and it became the dominant force on Earth, you would hate against them because they were too successful for their own good. That's what you would say.
No, I'd hate them if
That's
they were
why
in a
you're
position
saying that
that
you
that
don't
we
like
were in
humans.
now, and they continued to harm others when they didn't have to. So yes, I would hate foxes if foxes became the dominant species on Earth, and instead of using science to stop eating animals like we can, they continued to do it.
You can't just stop being a carnivore.
You could
You
actually,
can stop eating meat.
I can give you an idea.
I could because I'm an omnivorous being. I'm not a carnivore. A bear could stop eating meat because he's an omnivorous being, but a fox can't. It's a
foxes are
matter
actually
of
omnivores,
evolution.
so let's use
if the
hyenas
fox,
as well.
if there's a big amount of evolution going on with the fox, then it might go omnivorous, and then maybe it might.
Well, you
stop
just
eating
answered
meat.
your own question.
But
Because you
it's
are an
very
omnivore,
unlikely,
because
it's
you are
very
an
unlikely.
omnivore, you can actually go down his path. The path of veganism.
Yeah, I can, but again, I'm saying
But you
that the
don't
main
want to,
point
'cause it tastes too
by
good.
which look, the problem with humans, by which you're attacking humans, is that they are very successful. They are at the top of the food chain, and you're saying, okay, if they're this successful, we can stop eating meat.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair.
Why is it not fair?
It's not fair because there are carnivorous beings who keep eating animals, and you're not attacking
I
them.
can avoid harming women, so I choose to avoid harming
Why are you
women.
comparing women to animals?
Why can't I compare anyone to animals? What's wrong with that? Because they're sentient beings. But you,
Listen,
you
can
think
you
humans are
compare
so
people
superior?
to monkeys? Can I start
Yes.
calling another person a monkey?
Well, it might be an insult
Oh my
to
God,
them,
yeah, it's
but
an
we are
insult,
comparable
man.
to monkeys.
Okay, we are, because our ancestors, the Australopithecus, are apes.
No, that's not what he's saying. He used the term sentient beings.
Yeah.
That's why he sees other animals the same as us, because we are sentient beings. Because the
I
truth
see
of the matter
humans
is, he eats
as
me
more
as he
important
explained, because he loves
Yeah.
the taste.
And if
Yeah.
you
So
can
it doesn't
help
matter
out
what
humans,
reason you give. He loves eating the chicken
You can.
burger, so he's still
The
going to
most
eat the
basic
chicken
thing.
burger.
And that's the problem. There's no getting through to
Nothing
him.
compared to what
Because
you can train
he
a
puts
dog.
his
Dogs can
taste buds
dig
above
into
others.
us.
Digging his heels in.
But you sound like a compassionate bloke to me,
Yes,
sir.
of course,
I think you should check out the
the dog.
documentary
Okay,
Land of Hope
now
and
you look
Glory
for this
Land of
very,
Hope and
very,
Glory.
on YouTube.
very,
It's
very
about
specific
British
smell.
farming. And after it, you'll say to yourself, why does it make sense I'm funding any of this? Eggs, dairy,
course.
we can live without oppressing and harming others.
You guys use the cube of truth.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we were there
I'm
yesterday.
the London organizer.
You're the London organizer.
Yeah.
of Cube of Truth.
Yeah.
Okay, so what, is there like cubeoftruth.com to find out?
That's right, yeah. Cubeoftruth.com,
Yeah,
actually. That's what it's
and
called.
there's
Yeah.
got resources on the site. You can look into veganism.
I've actually got a card on me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just-
please. I would like that.
Because I know you think this guy's arguments don't make sense.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I can join up and be a lot more active. Because I live the life. Because I haven't eaten meat in 21 years.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't call myself a vegan even though I don't drink milk or eat eggs.
Yeah.
Because I still have a leather belt and a leather jacket. So that's why I don't call myself a vegan.
Yeah, and you can phase those. You can easily phase those out. We've got synthetics available, so you don't have to wear the skins of others at all. Humans claim to be the most advanced and intelligent species on Earth. Yet we have people like this saying we can't move past using animals for food, clothing, and entertainment. And he's
Even though
saying
we're
what-
spoiled for choice.
I mean, it's
I
just.
think the only point he had was that he loves the taste. But then when he started going into some pseudo-intellectual